I didn't want to think about all what happened, so I just buried my past. There were 38,000 Jews living in the northern part of Libya at the time. Today there are none left, Mafdal Had. The community is totally extinct.
If somebody wants to understand what is going on in the Middle East, they have to understand the Jewish refugees from Arab countries.
I was in Los Angeles on a business trip. I was in a hotel, and there was a young lady in her mid-20s, and I could tell from her name and from her looks that she was Egyptian. So I said, "Ahlan wa sahlan." He said, "Oh, do you speak Arabic?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Why did you leave Egypt?" I said, "Well, I'm Jewish." He said, "Oh, I didn't know that there were Jews living in Egypt." And I told her the whole story, and she was shocked.
Everybody already thinks of Jews as white Europeans. Not all Jews are European. When I sing traditional Middle Eastern and North African Jewish music, people will often say to me, "It sounds Arabic." And I say to them, we're not called cousins for no reason. What is Middle Eastern North African has come to be known as Arab. And people forget that there are many other indigenous peoples from the region, and the Jews are one of them.
The Jews were about 2,600 years in Iraq, and when they came to Iraq, they came before the Arabs, before the Muslims, of course.
My family is among the Jews who stayed on that land for the next 2,600 years until they were kicked out around 1950 by the Iraqi government. Jews who stayed in the region are known as Mizrahim, which in Hebrew means Easterners. They either stayed on that land of Babylon, as my family did, or they migrated to lands throughout the region, whether it was Iran, whether it was Syria, Lebanon, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and so on, the entire region. A Demi or a Dhamma, depending on the pronunciation, is a tolerated people. It's the people of the book, Christians and Jews, people who worship, practice the Bible. And according to Islam, this is a group that's supposed to be protected. What that means is, as Islam conquered the entire Middle East, North African region and killed people in the name of Islam if they would not convert, the Jews and Christians would be spared their lives. However, they always had to be both physically and metaphorically inferior. For example, a Jew could not ride a horse because then his head would be higher than that of a Muslim. Jews could not build a synagogue higher than a mosque.
When I used to walk in the street, little children used to run after me and throw stones at me and calling me, "You are a Jew, you are a traitor," and they threw stones at only little kids.
One day we were playing in the field, and he turned around and told me, "حيجي يوم حيذبح كل اليهود." One day we will slit the throat of all the Jews. I was shocked. He was one of my best friends, And I couldn't understand it.
I remember very well Baghdad. Remember the river? My family used to live in northern Baghdad. It was a very nice neighborhood, and we had very good relations with the neighbors. The Jews of Iraq, they served the state of Iraq very much, more than any other minority in Iraq. The first finance minister was a Jew.
أبجد هوس حطي كلمه شكل الأستاذ بقى منسجم أبجد هوس حطي كلمه شكل الأستاذ بقى منسجم.
Layla Murad, she was the diva, the Barbara Streisand, if you will, of the Middle East, and she was an Egyptian Jewish woman who was a beautiful singer. And to this day, people are still listening to her music and absolutely love her. Most Arabs do not know that she's Jewish.
كان فعل ماضي ما تسيبه بحاله والماضي احنا مالنا وماله كان فعل ماضي ما تسيبه بحاله.
I listen a lot to Iraqi music. I read in Arabic. You know, we cook the same food that we used to cook in Iraq. So I'm very much Iraqi as well.
In 1941, there was one nationalist leader, Kailani, who organized a big uprising against the British occupiers and so forth, and they take the same opportunity to massacre the Jews. And in Farhud, they also massacred the Jews. The British interfered, and after they massacred what they massacred, the things ended. But it has to be always pointed out that anti-British sentiment went with anti-Semitic sentiment.
Haji Amin al-Husseini, the Palestinian Mufti, was meeting with the Fuhrer himself, with Hitler, and proposed a final solution to the Jews throughout the Middle East and North Africa. And the Hitler, of course, was delighted. Back.
حيثما ثقفتموهم فاقتلوهم أينما تكونون فاقتلوا أولئك اليهود ومن لف لفهم.
In Iraq, in the 1930s, you had the pro-Nazi government, which led to the Farhud in 1941, in which Jews